All right, all right. Good evening, gentlemen. Mr. Richie, good to see you, sir.
My friend, good evening. It's good to be back.
Yeah. A brand new year. Our first live for 2022.
Yes.
My goodness, very excited about 2022. How's everything on your side?
Man, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Can't be more I can't be more content than I am at the moment. Just grateful.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be important for us how we start this year, isn't it? Because that's
Yes.
kind of like will determine how we, kind of if you started a bit sluggish, like, oh my goodness, I don't want to be into. No, it's like, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm hitting, but let me hit anyway. I'm not 100% clear what I'm chasing, but let me chase it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting year. We're not saying it's not going to come without any challenges, but we are enough. Because all things that pertain to life and godliness is already on the inside of us, and the Lord will help us. He will definitely help us.
Yes.
So right here for us here on the Mastermind for Men platform, we are going to continue the conversation where we sharpening one another, where we encourage one another. Gentlemen, the door is still open. It will not be shut. We are looking forward to welcome you one of these Wednesdays, just to come in and add some value to us and to let us know what you've been working on, and we're looking forward to grow together.
Yes.
We've got some exciting things that we want to do this year, and the kind of topics that we want to discuss, and yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Well, we are back. So I was just saying to Clinton earlier that the tendency when it comes to a new year is like you want to start things fresh and all of this kind of thing. And so last year we kind of like ended our session, our with the discussions that we had just before we kind of like went into festive season. We were talking about the importance of having a great self-image. Because the truth of the matter is that you and I will never be able to go beyond the way we see ourselves. If I see myself as a loser, guess what? I'm gonna carry myself as a loser. I'm gonna talk like a loser. I'm gonna walk, talk. Everything is gonna come out because of the way I see myself. So it's kind of important for us to not like just leave that in 2021. No, let's bring it. Let's pick it up again in 2022. I believe we need to continue to have this conversation about how do I see myself? Why is it important for me to have a great image? Why is it important for me to see myself right? Now you might be asking, Kendrick, so how am I supposed to see myself right? Well, that's why we are here. That's why we are going to have that conversation. And just to kind of like give you guys a little bit of an overview, or kind of like just recap what we touched on over the past few weeks, just before we went into Christmas and all of these lovely mince pies and stuff. I hope that you burned all those mince pies by now. I hope that you all of those calories. My goodness, I'm working on something. I'm quite happy with. You might be wondering, Candy, you look like you're disappearing. Yeah, I'm working on it. You were like, you were wondering, oh, this is the Holy Ghost that just came. I saw him, now I don't see him. No, I believe our health is so important, and I've tasted that it's being on the upper level of the scale. Say, nah, that one is not working for me. You walk up the stairs and bro, what's wrong? No, I just came up the stairs, man. What you mean, what's wrong? No. I realize less is sometimes better, so I'm working on bringing it down. Bringing it down. But it's
Yes.
all good. It's all good. Now, a couple of things that we touch on when we spoke about the importance of a self-image is how it will actually how will it will actually affect our purpose and destiny, because you and I will not be able to uh, be able to fulfill our potential.
Yeah.
You won't be able to fulfill. I will not be able to fulfill my potential if I do not see myself right. If I have a low self-esteem, a low self-image, I will always fall short. I will always fall short in each and every area of my life. Why? Because it impacts my family life. It impacts business, career, your marriage, uh, you name it.
Yes.
Every area of our lives is being impacted by how we see ourselves. So that's why it's important for us to work on that, because our main objective is, gentlemen, we want to fulfill our potential. We want to reach our highest possible potential. We want to go where we haven't been before, instead of just it's all right, let me just go around the corner shop. That's it, man. We don't need to go too far. No, we don't want to go to the corner shop. We want to go as far as possible.
Yes.
And we started off talking about steps to build our self-image. We looked at self-talk. How do you talk to yourself, especially when things are going it's a little bit hard, when you've taken on a project, and then you realize, oh my goodness, the outcome is not what you've expected. How are you talking to yourself? You look in the mirror, it's like, I knew it, Kendrick, you're a loser, boy. I knew you were never going to make it. You are just lying no, don't, not like that. No. How are you talking to yourself? It's very important. Yeah, and we kind of like touch on that. So that's on one of the previous sessions. And we looked at the last one we looked at was that we have to stop comparing ourselves with other people. The danger of comparison is very dangerous for you and I to compare ourselves with other people.
Yes.
Now, obviously, you can look at comparison in a good way and in a negative way. Excuse me. Because there are some people that inspire us, isn't it?
Yes.
So we want to have those kind of examples where, all right, I like the way this guy is doing his wife. If I look at how he does his wife and how I do mine, and it's like, and I'm comparing it in a positive way. It's like, I can do better, Kendrick. Step up, boy, step up.
Yes.
So that's a good way, and that's a bad way of doing it. And that's what we kind of like looked at, because each and every one of us, we have our own lane, and that is one of the things that came out. Each and every one of us have our own lane, and when we compare ourselves with other people, it's kind of like we are undermining, number one, the destiny that God has put on the inside of us. We're undermining our own gifts. We're undermining our talents. We're undermining everything who we are. We're undermining that.
Yes.
But we have to understand that comparison is like poison. One of those that kill you slowly. One of those, like, suddenly you just feel like you're just tired because it just drains your energy, because
Yes.
you are just looking out there. Oh my goodness, look how they're doing. I'm so horrible. It's like, look at him. No. It's about making sure that understand your strengths, you understand your weaknesses, and you kind of like pushing on the things that you are working on, and just knowing that you have value. You have
Yes.
value, and you got something to bring to the table. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now this evening, sir, if you are okay with that, is that all right? If we can, I want us to talk about something that I know that it will kind of like build on what we've already spoke about, and over the past few weeks. I believe that there's what we call, obviously, self-limiting beliefs. Self-limiting beliefs what are the self-limiting, what are the things that you and I tell ourselves that we cannot do? What are the things that is stopping us from moving forward, because or which is based on what we've been telling ourselves over the years? No, telling myself, no, I can't. I'm not able to earn that kind of money. I'm not able to live in that kind of a neighborhood. I'm not able to have that kind of a wife. No, I can't. I can't own a business. I can't earn all of this. So, but the question that we have to ask ourselves: what are those beliefs that you currently? All right, let me just bring my brother in here, Mr. Jordan. How are
Hi,
you?
good day, gentlemen.
Good to have
I
you.
was
Good to see you,
struggling to
sir.
log on.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to family well. He is frozen right there.
He's
now.
frozen.
Yeah, like
He'll be back.
stuck. All right, you'll be back. All right, sir. Just jump on when you're ready. Okay. All right. So I think so what I want us to do this evening, I want us to kind of like just dig into that. I want us to look at what are those beliefs that you and I are sitting with, that is actually stopping us, that stops us from becoming what God has intended us, to the destiny that God has intended for us to walk into. Because we did say that it's impossible for us to go beyond the image that we hold of ourselves. But if you really think about it, for years, somebody has told us that it jumped on again. All right, somebody has told us that, Kendrick, you know what, you will never be able to run your own business. And there are certain voices that has been very loud in our ears for many years. There's certain environments that we've been brought up, we've allowed that to shape us, because the truth of the matter is, our environment is a very powerful thing, because there's a law that actually talks about the law of I think it's the law of environment. I think it's actually called the law of environment, where when you are actually in an environment, if you are deciding to go on a journey of growth and your environment is conducive to growth, even if you have not decided to go on one on a journey, you will still find yourself to be at a different level, say 12 months from now. Why is that? Because the environment is pushing you towards becoming better, just because you're finding yourself in that environment. But now,
Yes.
if I'm finding myself that that I'm in a toxic environment, and I'm doing everything that I can to grow, it will even be harder for me to see results. Why is that? Just because my environment is pulling me back. So we should not, because there you can clearly see it's completely two different things. The one person is focusing on growth, but his environment is toxic. So his growth is not really he can't accelerate his growth. But now you get the person that he's not even thinking about growth. He's not even bothered about growth, but just because he's surrounded by people that are growth minded, people that are, it's just a very positive environment. That guy will just kind of like find himself, oh, things have changed, but he won't even know why. So we have to understand that we cannot disregard. Our brother is struggling to get in. We cannot disregard the fact that whether it is in our households, whether it's in even the relationships that we are in, whether it is, it doesn't matter where it is, as long as there are voices and people speaking into our lives. If we don't pay attention to that, it will definitely affect our level of growth. Now, I don't know if you, as we kind of like gonna dig into this, is there something that you want to just mention there, sir? What are your thoughts on this when it comes to self-limiting beliefs?
Well, there are a couple of scriptures I wanna put as a foundation before I
Okay,
do.
go for it.
So Romans 8:17. And
Mhm.
if children, then heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ,
Mhm.
provided we suffer with him in order that we may also be glorified with him.
Mhm.
Another one, 2 Timothy 1:7. For God gave us a spirit not of fear,
Mhm.
but power and love and
And
self-control.
that's right. Yeah.
Romans 8:37. No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loves us. Yeah. Now, why did I say all of that? It's because, and one last one I'm going to say, which is John 15:15.
Okay.
No longer do I call you servants,
Yeah.
for the servant does not know what his master is doing.
Mhm.
But I have called you friends. All that I have heard from my Father, and I have made known to you. The why I said all of that was there's always going to be a starting point in your growth of that journey, and many of us start from many different points. It could be a
Yeah.
high, a low. It could be in the depths of the depths of yeah, he's back.
Good to see.
So the thing with that is, number one, you've got to realize that you do have to start.
Mhm.
Number two, you need to be true to yourself where you are. Just coming up with a line or a topic or a sentence to sound good to somebody else is self-limiting in itself.
Yeah.
All of these are steps to realizing that you are self-limiting and you need to stop it. And this is why I actually, read those verses so that it could put into context that there is a starting point, and then it's a process or a journey that you will go through. And you must encounter issues if you're going to grow, because that's the only way that you will learn and experience the value of conquering something.
Mm.
There is a gift, there's a precious gift in that process that I just
Yeah.
explained. So the to able to overcome what you can call self-limit, someone might not even define themselves in a self-limiting class or saying that I don't think I can do that. What they may be doing in self-limiting is actually saying to themselves, I can't seem to get past this level. I've been doing this, and
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
your dreams require you to have an income of 100K a year, but you're actually only making quarter of that a year. And you seem it to be a huge task to be able to move from the 25 to the 100K. Now, weird enough, if you be true to yourself, you would have found that you did go to university, you did do a degree, you have a bunch of things already in the bag to get you there. But because you haven't sat down with yourself to have a conversation with yourself, to be true to yourself and with yourself, you are actually then doing the negative, which is, well, if he can do it, I can do it, but you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you read all the books, you went to the seminars and the webinars and everything else, all the talks, you've got it there, you listened to the pastor, you went for prayers, you fasted. I can't think of anything else you needed to do. You went to a boot camp.
Yeah.
But you still at 25K.
Yeah.
And that's you self-limiting yourself, because subconsciously you are telling yourself, I can't do this. Sit with yourself, be honest with yourself. Then you get to a point where you might not jump from 25 to 100K. Even if you go to 27K,
Yeah.
to 30K, you're on the move. That's the thing. Get on the move. Once you're able to start doing that, over time, you see what I mean? Sometimes we are so focused on the comparison we have done, whether directly or indirectly. We're focused on that result rather than appreciating that you are not that person. Your journey is, you don't have to replicate that person's journey. You're on your own journey.
Yeah.
It's good to have some inspiration and learning from them, but appreciate you for you.
Yeah.
And then there are some things that some of us do, like we self-diagnose that you've got ADHD and all of these things that we would call an inability to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're lying to yourself. Have you really pushed yourself to the limit to know what you're capable of and what you're not?
Yeah.
But you've settled, so you've decided, okay, I'm not going to do this. Rather, you should be looking and saying to yourself, look, if I can't come at this from this angle, I'm coming at it from a different angle. You understand?
Yeah.
Or another one, you might not be able to pay £3,000 to do a degree or a course. But if you begin to look to see what that course is made up of, you might find that a part of that course is going somewhere for £300, another part £400. Over time, you would have been paying as you go along, do the pieces, and then you can go and apply to do the degree. All of those exemptions you can then have, and you just pay the balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I mean? So it's the journey there for all of us is going to be completely different. And I think what we need to do is, number one, accept that. And you need to make that decision within yourself. First of all, I'm going to go on this journey. I don't know how. I just know that God is going to help me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can do this. Once you begin to tell yourself that, the next steps begin to follow, because it's interesting. Let's use an example of a mother. A woman decides, most women, not all women fall into this particular process, but most women will say, I would like to have a family, I would like to have a child. And they start that process. And whether they decide to go and find a partner as in a physical person or find a partner in the bank. I don't mean as in a bank you get money, you know, the sperm bank. It depends. It depends what she decides to do. The point is she makes a decision. Yeah. Now, the majority of women will then realize that once I commit to this thing, this is a process, right? And therefore, there's a lot of things that comes into play and challenges that she's got to deal with. And she knows that she has now got this end result, which is this baby she's going to hold in her hand. Boy or girl, she's just going for it. Some women get huge surprises. They end up with multiple kids, one go. But during that journey, and it would be lie to say to anyone here that you might not want to give up. But like what you said earlier when you were introducing this topic, again, for this year, is what you continuously tell yourself. Because one morning you might get up and think, I can't do this anymore. Guess what? A lot of mothers go through that. A huge percentage.
Yeah. Can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you quickly? It sounds like there's a bit of a feedback. I don't know if it's coming from your side. I'm gonna mute myself. Andrew, if you can also mute yourself just to make sure.
I don't hear it anymore. Do you hear it? Yeah. Okay. So what I was trying to say is that woman will come up with a lot of challenges. There are a lot of times when she'll actually say, "I can't do this anymore. I can't be bothered with this," and then she realizes quickly she can't be thinking like that, because the vision of where she's going to end up, that moment, all of this is for just a moment, but the moment is just beyond her. It encompasses the man if he's around, it encompasses the child, it encompasses her, it encompasses the family around. It's a lot. So you have got to realize that your journey is so important, not just to you, to lots of other people that you might not have even met yet in your life. But you cannot be concerned about what it is going to be and how it's going to be, how it's going to impact these people when you haven't even done the journey. You have to get the experience. You have to walk the walk. You have to make that decision. Then every time you hit a challenge, those challenges are there for a reason. It's helping you to build you. It's helping you to build your I would call it your faith muscle, so that you can keep going and going, because every time you jump, let me give you another example. Have you ever looked at the sport called high jump? Or any sport? Every time there is a training session going on and somebody would have jumped good or bad, there is a focus on, well, how did he jump that high? What was his technique? What was her technique? How did he jump so high, but he still managed to hit the bar and bring it down? What happened? Why did Lewis Hamilton spin so many times on that wet? Was it the wheel? Was it the tire? Was it his driving? Was it the turn too much? There's a difference in that versus, and yes, I'm doing comparison, but for positive thing here, so I'm a good example of that. The reason behind doing that is practically you are not saying no to yourself and shutting down. You're looking and saying, okay, look, I did X, Y, Z. Now, how can I move on from here? But how can I move on from here and be better and not the same? Because it means you keep experiencing the same. So you never move from 25K. So if you're on a 25K job, don't go and look for another 25K job. Begin to look for a job that will challenge you. Maybe you need to up your skills. Maybe you need to work on your attitude. Maybe you have everything already for the 100K job.
Yeah.
But your attitude and so many other bits play into that. Now, that's a different conversation you're having with yourself, which is very real compared to just dropping arms and saying no.
Yeah.
But you will experience a moment when you feel like no. You're human, you will experience it. Why did I tell you those scriptures just now? Well, the reason I put the scriptures is to remind you sometimes you do have to forget about what Mary said, John said, and just focus on what God says.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Sometimes you've got to forget about all the books you've read, because your parents might, some people might grow up thinking, this person is depending on me to do that. You need to depend on you. You're doing this for you. So you're not doing this to make your parents look good or make your wife feel happy. That is a bonus. If you are not happy, somebody else feeling happy for you will have no effect on you. Actually, it's going to have the reverse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when on this journey and this I call it a process of overcoming self-limit. It's not something you just wake up tomorrow and say, yes, I've overcome it. And so for the rest of your life, you're an overcomer of self-limit. Hey, this is a moment by moment thing you do. Yeah, that's my my book on it.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I'm ready to buy that book. I'm ready to buy that book, sir. And if you take too long to print it, I'll print it myself. That's really powerful. Thank you so much for bringing that up, sir. Mr. Jordan, I'm not sure if you managed to pick up that we actually talking about. So we are actually continuing talking about working on our self-image, and we are tackling self-limiting beliefs this evening. So Clinton just gave us a very in-depth kind of like a point of view there. So, anything that you wanted to add there, sir?
Yeah, I think that book, we wouldn't have to proofread it. We just need the final copy now.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting if you talk about limits, because growth is something. If you look at what growth means, it does mean improving and building on what you already know. And and limiting oneself is the opposite of growth.
Yeah.
And of course, there's adversity and there's triumph. And I know the scripture covers that quite often in various Bible stories, where nothing can be completed in a time that's initially estimated. We look at anything, we decided to decorate the house or paint. The job almost never gets done straight on the first assumption that it will be done this weekend. But then, do we limit ourselves in many cases? And I'm guilty of that when it comes to DIY. I've got a lot of jobs that are unfinished, that maybe it's 90% there, but I'm thinking it's good enough. But my wife's not going to pick up the paintbrush to finish it off, and neither are my kids. So the buck stops with me. So I'm limiting myself finishing it. I'm telling myself, as long as they happy with it and I'm not too bothered, can I get away with leaving it as it is? But we have to look at perfection and strive, and the Bible speaks about striving for perfection. And yes, I'm guilty of it, because I know I can perfect it. It just means it's another thing I have to learn, and I need to learn a few more skills. And then there's things I have no knowledge about, or not much knowledge about. And when it comes to the plumbing in the house, I leave that for a professional.
Yeah, otherwise you flood the house, bro.
Yeah, and the neighbors, So I think the painting job, that's one I can master, and I've done quite a lot of painting over the years. There was a time when I also was moving into my current property we bought many years ago, and there was no flooring in. And I thought I'll attempt the laminated flooring myself. And I watched loads of YouTube videos, and I didn't check what equipment you all need, first of all. So I started the job. I started the job, and I knew, okay, I needed a jigsaw to cut the edges, and I bought all the materials, but the method, I didn't get it right first time. I must admit, I wasted quite a few of the boards, and I had to go buy more. But luckily, I bought, like we do, we buy enough, thinking there's 10% that can be wasted. And then I discovered the more I used the method they actually incorporated in the instructional videos. I went to B&Q's training videos on how to do this. And if you had to put the groove of every board in on an angle, press it down, and then you have to hit it with a mallet on the side to go in. But I was damaging the boards as I do this. And I thought, isn't there another way to do this? And without me knowing, I stumbled across trying something different from what they recommend. And I basically cut all the boards, the end board, last one to fit the full width of the room. And then I connect the boards on the sides first in the whole row. And I put the whole row in, and I sort of wiggle it in and down, and the whole row goes in. So there was no additional knocking on the sides to do. And then I carried on, and I thought I could actually do this much faster this way.
Come on now.
So I haven't patented the process yet, but it worked. And it was quicker.
Yes, sir. You know what? You know how powerful that is, what you just said, because I think one of the things when it comes to self-limiting beliefs, because the first thing that we do is like we tell ourselves, okay, I can't do this. Yeah. And I believe most probably the first place to start is like, why am I telling myself that I can't do this? How do I actually know that I can't do something? Yeah. Because that in itself is a self-limiting belief. Because one of the things that I've come to experience is that when you look at something from the outside, that it kind of looks very intimidating. It looks very like sophisticated. It's only a certain kind of person that can do this certain kind of job, or can do this, or whatever it is, whether it's DIY, whatever you're talking about. Let me, for example, use trading. When you're talking about forex trading. I remember years ago, a very good friend of mine actually kind of like spoke to me about it. He said, all right, what I do, he mentioned it to me like kind of like, you buy one currency and selling and all of this kind of thing. And I was like, okay. You stare with big eyes, but the head is empty. Big eyes, empty head. It's like, oh, okay, that sounds very interesting. And you know what I ended up doing? I said, I can give you money and you can make money for the two of us, isn't it? Because now the first thing that I did, I've excluded myself. I said, all right, you know how to do it. I don't even need to try.
Yeah.
But until you actually step out and you realize, oh my goodness, I can actually learn how to do this. I can actually do this. I can actually make some money myself, if you understand. And I think that's where we kind of like get to a place where we shoot ourselves in the foot. Because I like what you were saying, even though, because you looked at tons of YouTube videos, because you thought, or the impression that you had, like somebody on YouTube know how to do this. I don't know how to do it, but somebody out there know how to do it. And you tried all the methods, but you ended up damaging the boards. And you ended up doing something that is, now you step into a place of being creative. Because that's why I believe being creative is so powerful. Yes. Because now you start thinking outside the box. And I think that is key when it comes to overcoming self-limiting beliefs.
Yes.
Once I asked myself, okay, Kendrick, why do you say you can't do that? What is the reason? What is the proof? What proof do you even have that say that you haven't even tried? So how do you know you can't do it? Yeah, but you even proved yourself wrong. You came up with a method that is faster. You found that it is better. You haven't completely gone into it. But that showed already that there was no need for me to look. Maybe the YouTube videos kind of like gave me a bit of a nudge in the right direction. But at the end of the day, when our creativity steps in, we can even do things better. And we come. There's just kind of like a thought that just popped up when you were just mentioning that. So
But
So-
that was a great demonstration by example
Mm,
of literally overcoming, because you can see quite a few times in that journey that he just spoke about where he could have chosen to stop at the limit that he experienced. Yeah, he didn't stop at the limit where he realized, hey, this is my money going down the drain here.
mm,
I am looking stupid to the family. My wife is probably laughing at me. The kids wondering. He didn't have these thoughts based on his journey he's explaining. He's just saying, you know what, listen, let's give this a go again. But this time, I'm gonna try some different approaches here, and let's see what happens. So what he did, he removed the biggest killer, fear, and
okay.
it's self-inflicting fear.
Mm, mm,
You know, it's like if you've had a wound, you've gone to the doctor put a band-aid and treat it and clean it and whatever, and you go home now and thought, what's the point? You just take something else and just go right back in the wound, and that is literally explaining. Sorry, I'm just getting some power for the laptop. Explaining the self-limiting there. Instead, he didn't do that. What he did, he realized, he said, you know what? Listen, there's no such thing I'm going to have here as this wound getting worse. I am not wounded now, so I am just going to carry on. The wound also he experienced was spending the money, because that hit the pocket. Because even the contingency extra materials, he screwed that up. So he went again and got a fresh set of materials with a fresh set of contingency. So that by that example, he also said that sometimes he thinks that he may need additional, learn some additional stuff, things like that. That's him. As simple as that was, that's him making a decision. It sounds simple, but it's one of the biggest steps. When you have acknowledged to yourself, telling yourself the truth, I need to gear up a little bit more for this. You understand? And then I'm going to throw myself at it. Now, I could get it all wrong, but you know what? Let's do it. See what happens. Similar to me being a kid as learning to swim. I look at the water. No, I'm not going in there. The guy says, listen, the best way to learn, jump into deep and see if you can swim. I said, you must be mad, not me. Then I see some of my other friends going into the shallow, talking I'm not even 13 yet. And this is pool at school. And they're going with the class and going with the stuff. Then I'm saying they're having fun. I'm thinking, this is feeling odd. I'm the only child in the class. I am not having that fun. So I want to see what's like. So I make a decision. Nobody's looking at jumping. Guess what? I did it the wrong way, but I got the teacher's attention. He got me out and then brought me back in to do it properly. Now after that, I'm still not an excellent swimmer until this day, but I can do some dog kicks and paddles and stuff and get there. Right? The point is, just don't give up. Make a decision. Be honest with yourself so you have a starting point. Remove the fear and just go. Another thing I'll say to you, if we were staying on use an example of salaries, you're going to join a company. The boss isn't looking for a company generally isn't looking for the most perfect person. The company is, are you dedicated to progress?
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Because that means you're open to learning, everything, team spirit, everything else. So that dedication to progress Now, they're going to have some challenges because you should never see a job for life. So if all of a sudden that same boss welcomed you with open arms and said, yes, you might not have all the skills needed, but I like you. He likes you because you're dedicating yourself to his progress. Now you've got to make a decision that you need to progress, which means that that particular job or environment may not be for you all the time. You see what I mean? And it's always good to realize when is it that you need to put something down and pick up something else on your way to growth. So it's this here is, anybody could give you 3 steps, 5 steps, 100 steps, whatever they want to call it. Guess what? It's journey. And every one of the journey are all personal to the person experiencing it.
That's right.
That's how you've got to see it. So don't just have a list saying that John Moe from top quality class said 50 and I'm at number 30. That was his experience and how he saw it. Draw the value from him and incorporate it into your experience, but don't live your experience based on his. Because then you won't be doing your experience.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's powerful, right? That's you know what, and I believe that there are certain questions that or there are certain steps that you and I can actually follow, practical steps that you and I can have, that you and I can follow to actually eliminate a self-limiting belief.
Yes.
And I believe the place where it starts is we have to identify a limiting belief that you and I want to change. Because if as soon as I identify, all right, what am I thinking about money, and why are my thoughts limiting me when it comes to money? For example, why do I think I can only make 25K? I can only make 30K. Why can't I think that 100K, 200K? What is causing me? So if you and I have to identify that limiting belief, and then how can we change that? Because if we can't identify it, then obviously we won't know what to change. And then we have to determine then how that certain belief, how does it limit us? Because each and every self-limiting belief is kind of like a ripple effect. Say, for example, if I have a certain belief when it comes to money, that belief does not just stop in itself, because everything affects everything, isn't it? Because if I believe I can only have an income of let's say 20,000, that means that will affect what I can actually acquire in life to make to have my family to have a successful or a happy household, isn't it? Because my self-limiting belief regarding money is affecting my family, my household. And if I don't see that self-limiting belief is if I think it's just standing on its own, I will kind of like just brush it off. It's like, all right, no, that's fine, that's not a big deal. No, if I don't believe right when it comes to my money, it affects each and every area of my life. And I think then another thing is decide then how you want to act, feel, or think regarding money then. Okay? Because an action will be required. Like what you were saying, Clinton. It's like, because there are certain things that I can tell myself, okay, this is what I believe, but I don't move on it. If I don't act on it, then that's not truly a belief, because you and I, you will recognize what I really believe based on my actions. I will recognize what you truly believe based on what you are acting on. I can say as much as I want when it comes to oh, I am prosperous. Oh, the Lord has blessed me with it all, and everything I put my hand to shall prosper. So what have you put your hands to so far? if I believe I'm everything I put my hands to, but I'm not putting my hand to anything,
You put your hands in the air, basically.
It's like, yeah, and like I just don't care. No. Put your, even if you believe me, I like there's a good friend of ours. I won't mention any names, but that guy, he can go and pick some grass in his backyard, bruh. He go and pick some grass in his backyard. That guy can put that grass on eBay, and that grass will sell. You know, if you have that guy, if you have that kind of anointing,
Yes.
if you have that kind of a gift, bruh, you will just put your hand on anything and everything. It's like that thing will just turn, and it will become something.
Yes.
But the evidence of you and I believing, or one of the steps that you and I need to take to overcome, just go, man, just do.
Yes.
You know, because I can talk as much as I want, but unless I do, then the chances are that I will never see any results. And then
Exactly.
obviously I need to ask myself how, you know, kind of like play out how I want to feel. You know, how do I want to feel when I see that 100K just coming in, bah, it hits the account. It's like, yeah, that's how I would feel, man. It's like I will take a holiday for 6 months. No, don't do that.
No, but
You know,
yes.
or you're thinking, you know, go already, tell yourself, all right, this is my kind of thinking when it comes to that. And it's almost like there are certain steps that you and I can get into to get ourselves to transform our self-limiting beliefs. And I think one of the things that we can also do is create like a turnaround statement that you and I, you know, like an affirmation.
Yes.
You know, it's like that will give you the permission to kind of like, okay, this is how I want to act, this is how I want to feel, or this is how I want to think. I want to think different, I want to feel this way, and I want to act differently. But there's some words that needs to come out of our mouth that will needs to be accompanied by corresponding action, um, that will kind of like just have a chain reaction. But if I just say I believe, though believing it's not enough.
I
Yeah.
just spotted this, and I think it's fitting, because everything we've said for nearly an hour now sums up in one word.
Mm-hmm.
Romans 12:2.
Mm-hmm.
And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by renewing of your mind.
That's right.
That's a consistent thing. Constantly you keep doing it. So it's not that you just do it now because the Bible says, and then after that. You do that day in, day out, moment after moment. And that ye may prove to yourself. Okay?
Yep.
I'm saying to yourself because it didn't say prove it to God, prove it to your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
It's to yourself. Prove what is good and acceptable and perfect,
Mm-hmm.
the will of God. And the only way you can do that, you've got to experience it. It's dropped in the spirit. You go after it. Your mind can be completely transformed. You can overcome the fears. You can overcome the doubts. You can overcome the misgivings.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? That is you walking in total faith by all of those actions.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process. It's a continuous process.
That's right.
And guess what? The great thing I love about the scripture, the great thing I love about God, the great thing I love about Jesus is that when he died and rose again, and he did that, you know, if you want to learn to deep dive, contact Jesus. He knows how to do that. He deep dive and collect the keys, and then the man didn't even, he didn't even, shoot up like a jet. I mean, the man supersonic faster than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Listen, the reason I'm using these words is to show you that you can quickly move from whatever depth you feel to whatever height you choose to go to, just like that. By a decision, you make a decision, just like that.
That's right.
But that process, let me warn you, is a continuous process. Because you go all the way up here, like when you drink coffee, and then a couple seconds later. So that is why it says renew your mind. You keep doing it because you can do this.
Yeah, I like this.
Hear about me. I am in my 40s now. So I've even paid for the gym for a year, 2 years, went twice. Okay. But now I've got to a stage in my life where my body is saying you have to do this. So I started on the treadmill for 10 minutes. I started some. The guys out there who are pros at this wouldn't call my push-ups push-ups. They'll call it movements. My point is, I have consistently kept trying. And now instead of doing a walk on the treadmill for 5-10 minutes and feeling completely out of it, I'm going beyond 30 minutes, beyond 45 minutes. And while I'm doing that, I have decided, what can I do to help to motivate me to be on this journey and enjoy it rather than just doing it because my body is forcing me to do it. So what I do, I listen to scripture, I listen to some preaching. So by the time I'm finished working on my physical health, I've worked on my mental health at the same time. I've worked on my spiritual health at the same time. Yeah. And during all of that, I can hear the Holy Spirit talking to me about other stuff regarding other areas of my life. So when I'm done with those sessions, there's a huge incentive for me to go back into those sessions again. Yeah. What is the thing that motivates you when you go to work? When they pay you. So when you get paid, you think, right, I'll go back next month and see.
Yeah. Clinton, that scripture, again, what you just said with renewing your mind. You might do physical things, but your physical and your spiritual side is connected.
Yes.
And just to give you a quick update, when I finished the flooring, I did 65 square meters eventually. But it started with
teachers now.
Yeah, it started with only doing the dining room because that was the plan. And when I got the method right and I got the confidence, I made sure I buy enough for, and the materials cost £600. The quote I got for labor was £750.
Wow.
So the labor cost more than the materials, and I thought, if I do this, I save more than half.
Yes.
But the lesson for me was when I visited a friend and the friend's sister had to give birth and they converted the garage to a bedroom. I could offer to do the flooring for them. Free of charge as a goodwill gesture, and I did their garage floor. And I said, yeah, it will only take one evening. We got all the materials measured out, and we did it in one evening.
Wow.
And then I stumbled across another friend who had to convert his garage to a dining room, like a basement garage.
Yeah.
Dining room. And I told him, listen, yeah, don't worry, we can sort this out. We give it a day or two. It's quite a big area, and we did it in 2 evenings. And then another friend.
Hey, I think we need to start a business, but a flooring business.
Yeah, that was a thought at the time. Yes,
all of that was free, Jester.
Yes, and then this friend's son, the bedroom, he suffered from asthma.
Wow.
And they were thinking of what solution to come up because they don't want the carpets in the bedroom.
Wow.
And I said, well, if you get the materials, I'll put the flooring in for you, and that should help with his asthma.
Wow.
So he was little. He's finishing his A-levels now. Right? But this is many years ago.
Many years, yeah.
But I still was thinking further to create a machine that helps with some of that work, which isn't been patented or anything like that. And I haven't seen it on the market. So your creativity is something you don't know where you can take.
Yeah.
But look
Wow.
what he did.
Circumstance and opportunity comes. If I applied myself, I could easily go into that as a business.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's stumbled across just by attempting something that I wouldn't normally attempt in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what? He did something there. I know we're on time now, but he did something there, and he got something from it. What he got, he said it. Look at this carefully, and he took off like supersonic there. He said, when I got the confidence, suddenly he moved from one to multiples.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
One second.
That's right. And it wasn't just and you started off by not even sure whether you know how to do this thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and the thing is, I had to do it on my own and get a method that I could do it alone. When normally they get two guys.
Yeah.
If you get a company, there's two people doing it.
Yeah.
So the method helps with one person doing it. It actually works. So it's interesting because you wouldn't come across the solution if there wasn't a problem and you didn't apply yourself through problem solving. But yes, you have to think outside the box. But as an engineer, that's what I do for problem solving. I think outside the box. And most of my work solutions come from all the experience of thinking outside the box. Because we basically do problem solving. The problem with an engineering project is I have to convince other people. But if you renew your mind with what you have to do, there's no one to convince but yourself. And I think it's easier.
Yes.
That way.
Yes.
But if you don't make a start and you don't apply yourself, you don't challenge yourself to take that next step.
That's right.
And that in itself can be limiting. Much more limiting than other people limiting you.
Yes.
That's right. Oh man. Sir, gentlemen, we've reached the top of the hour, and obviously, as we know, we want to make sure we stick with the time. I know, Clinton, you wanted to say something. You want to wrap it up, and then we just call it.
It's just awesome when we come together here and we share like this, because it's amazing. We're talking about growth here. We're talking about faith here. But you know what's even more exciting? Just the fact that you have life. And then you make a decision to say, you know what? God's going to help me. I am enough. God is going to help me. You start right there. It's amazing. You know, Andrew said what he was able to walk away with. You know, the confidence, the thing that he can do this. And throughout his whole example, he showed you it was just him and God. That everybody is looking at him. And he goes out and he offers it to do it for somebody else. Now it's not just him and God alone.
Yeah.
You know, these people are relying on him to get this thing right.
Yeah.
So
That's
you've
right.
got to be bold with yourself.
That's right. That's
True
right.
to yourself. And just go for it, man.
That's right. That's right. That's right. My goodness, I think we need to write that book now, because sir, can you open? No, but Mr. Jordan, thank you so much. Mr. Clinton, thank you so much, sir. And just my takeaway for today is that don't allow that self-limiting belief to stop us. You know, don't allow it to stop you, because you don't know, by just taking one move, you can transform and impact so many other people's lives around you, because we don't ever know what that very thing that you are so afraid of, you don't know what it will turn out to be. So move with great courage, and because you know, success belongs to those that are bold and courageous, and
Yes.
and that's what we after. And as we continue to grow, let's do that, and the Lord will continue to help us. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much
Thanks so much, guys.
for being here. It was good to have you guys joining. And I'm not sure who's on there on Facebook, Mr. Chidozi or Mr. Rabi or somebody. But thank you so much for jumping on. It's good to have you on here. All right, gentlemen. See you guys soon and have an amazing week. Bye bye now.
Thank you. Have an amazing week.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
See ya.